Russell Westbrook and the Lakers have to be happy that they're back home, a wild road trip that they won't forget anytime soon. Some reinforcements have arrived. THT is back, and he's not the only one who will be rejoining the squad. They'll need as many healthy bodies as possible. Devin Booker in Phoenix boasts the NBA's best record at 24-5. It's the Lakers and the Suns for the second time this season. Phoenix won the first meeting as well as the final 3 games of their playoff series last season. Time to turn that around. Tip-off at Staples Center is at 7 o'clock over on TNT. As we say hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by the one and only Hall of Famer, Big Game, James Worthy, 7-time champ, Big Shot, Robert Horry. Mike Bresnahan will join us from Staples here in just a moment. Are we feeling good? I just need a temperature check. We're good?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Team's back home. Holidays right around the corner.
Yeah. You got to feel good. You got to look forward and keep pushing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Most wonderful time of the year?
Yes.
I like that. The Lakers, how about this? This is wonderful. Got some good news today. Earlier this morning, Talen Horton-Tucker and Dwight Howard have both cleared the league's health and safety protocols and are available to play tonight after missing the last 3 games. Both players were in the starting lineup prior to having to enter health and safety protocols, so a much-needed boost to a depleted Lakers roster. Now, here is the flip side of that. There's still a fairly long list of Lakers who are still in protocols, which include Avery Bradley, Malik Monk, Austin Reeves, Kent Bazemore, and head coach Frank Vogel. So, guys, I do want to start with Talen Horton-Tucker, though, the positive in all of this. Someone who has really seen it all. Missed the first 13, out to injury, and then obviously the last 3 due to protocols. Big game. Last time we saw him on the court, career high, 6 steals, 19 points against Orlando. What do you anticipate, though it is great to have him back, you're going to get from him tonight?
A much welcome on the defensive end. I mean, you just said 6 steals. The Lakers need that more than anything. We know he can navigate and hit those cool little acrobatic shots that he likes. But I think, he can play several people on the defensive end. I think with his length, he's sneaky with his steals and the way he jabs at the ball. And I think, he's a big welcome on that end because offensively, I think he can, do what he does, hit shots and get to the rim. But what a big welcome back on the defensive end.
Yeah, we talked about this last game where you look at that lineup and everybody who's out for the safety protocols, it's most of their best defensive perimeter players. And now you get one back. And you're really going to need that with, the crew that got to come here, especially Booker. Booker's one of those guys who can light it up. Chris Paul is a guy who, is always out there as a great point guard. But with him being back, you have a guy who can guard a multitude of people. So it's happy to have him back, to have his defensive skill set back, but more importantly, to have some extra offense, a guy who can drive and create his own shot.
I was going to say, you know what you're going to get with CP. We'll talk about this later, but also Devin Booker, having missed those 7, coming back the other night, it was as if he didn't skip a beat. All right, so from the backcourt to the front court, Dwight Howard started the 2 games before going into protocol, and obviously now we know the news without Anthony Davis for the next month. How much is his presence needed, and how much do they miss that impact?
For me, I look at his defensive presence. When people are driving, when other teams are driving, you have to have that back line of defense, and people are scared of Dwight. He might be a little older and a little bit more wiser, so people say, oh, he still can block shot, he can still jump, so we're not going to challenge him. And that's the best thing about that. You needed someone who's going to intimidate, and more importantly, I love the way he creates his own shot. What I mean by that is he goes to the offensive rebound, and that's one of the things that the Lakers, they're not doing that much of. When he's on the court, he's going to be around that rim to get extra shots, he's going to be around that rim to block shots. He's just a menace in the paint.
Yeah, we don't talk about this much about Dwight, but he's been around long enough. Defensive Player of the Year several times. He can lead. This guy can lead if he stays out of foul trouble because he mucks things up. He's got a little bit of that old school in him that these younger players aren't used to. He's physical. He's always in position to get offensive rebounds. He knows where to go to get his dinner. And then if you pick and roll, he over the top. But I just love the way he takes you off your game. You're not going to get to your spot when he's in there. And if you're coming in that lane, he's just going to hit you. He gets silly fouls sometimes for doing that, but I just love the way he takes people off their game, disrupts things. They need that. He and Tucker together defensively, that's what they need the most.
Hey, Rob, our friend Meta World Peace, when he was in here last, he told us that last time he saw Dwight, he went up and punched him right in the belly. Said he had about 20 abs in there. Have you ever done that to Dwight?
No, I did not do that to Dwight.
No.
I've only known a couple of people I did that to, and they're retired.
Smart man.
That guy right there.
Not only are the Lakers down
Pony
players,
keg. You hit mine, a little pony
we are
keg right there.
down another member of our game day crew. Mike Trudell with this message today. I'm in the NBA's health and safety protocols and I'm out for covering tonight's game. I'm asymptomatic thus far and feeling well. Glad to be vaxxed and boosted. Mike Bresnahan has you covered on Spectrum Sportsnet before and after the game and also on ESPN Los Angeles for me and Michael in-game on the radio side. So we wish our best, obviously. Continued to Michael and Mike Trudell. Speaking of, though, let's get you live to our Laker insider, Mike Bresnahan, who joins us live at Staples. Brez, you got some big shoes to fill tonight, my friend.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. There's no chance I have of filling Mike Trudell's shoes, but hopefully he is resting comfortably and watching me at least try tonight here at Staples Center. In addition to that, there's actually some decent medical news for the Lakers. We don't have a lot of that. You touched on it already. Talen Horton-Tucker and Dwight Howard off the health and safety protocols list. I asked David Fizdale about it. Here's what he had to say about their availability tonight, possibly.
Still talking about that minutes-wise and all of that kind of stuff. There is a good chance that Taylor could start tonight. And then we're going to sit down and talk a little more with Dwight and see how where he's at and see where our team is at and go from there.
It's kind of frustrating for a younger player like Talen to go through this process after. I mean, it seemed like he kind of did everything you wanted him to do on Sunday. The last time we saw him on the court was maybe one of his best games he's ever had.
You know, but that's the lay of the land. We just have to. You gotta roll with it. You know, this is not comfortable or convenient for anybody. And so I just feel like, I think I said this last time, is for him, for us, for everybody, is just roll with it and deal with it and don't complain and don't blame and don't bitch and moan. This is the world going through this. Let's just weather the storm, figure out who's playing, and we play. Figure out who's coaching, and we coach. And that's what it is. And accept what it is in front of us, and no excuses. Let's go out there and play our butts off.
The game against Chicago, I know it's coming off a loss, but there's a lot to take from that game. It felt like it was, obviously came down the wire, had an opportunity to win. Are there things you could take from that game and, obviously roll it into this game tonight?
Well, we talked today, obviously with Coach and as a staff, and then, with the players today, and just said, listen, we did some things from a ball movement standpoint as well as we've done them all year, and sharing the basketball and moving it, but we have to understand that everyone on this team is a role player when it comes to taking care of the basketball and when it comes to blocking out. Right now, we're getting our butts kicked in the possession game. Teams are getting too many more shots than us at the goal. And so I think everybody understands that. The hard part is that, like I told them, and it's just a switch that we have to make in ourselves, is that a lot of these guys were a lone star or a star next to a guy and had a bunch of role players doing all this crap for them already. And they could throw the ball away and the team could live with it. But now we got a bunch of stars, and we can't have a lot of guys turning the ball over and a lot of guys missing blockouts or expecting somebody else to do dirty work. We all have to do it. We all have to be role players in a certain respect. And so they all own that. That's the cool part about being around these guys and their professionalism. And, hopefully tonight we can see a change in that area.
Yeah, keep in mind, David Fizdale filling in for Frank Vogel, who is also in the health and safety protocols. A lot of moving parts around here.